and in 10 lives. I think the one thing that would have changed everything is if FNAF had a life system. Sure, you can go back and do it again after you fail night 5, thanks to the continue button, but I think lives would have made the game worse rather than better. Part of the appeal is that you have one shot, and while yes it saves what night you're on, you still need to restart that night, and I think that lives would have taken away from that. Even though it's basically the same thing, but also not. Unless the lives would let you continue the night that you were on. Like, if you got jump scared at 5 AM, you'd still be at 5 AM until you ran out of lives, which would also kind of break the game, unless it was meant to be, like, if you run out of lives, you have to go back to night 1. Especially if you use the glitch where you can continue the jump scare for a long time while still continuing the night, until eventually you die unless you beat the night by continuing the jump scare. With the system it currently has, lives are redundant. But we know that this was planned thanks to gameplay that was left on Scott's YouTube channel from the development days of the first FNAF game. I can't believe this game has gone from a last-ditch attempt to being featured next to God of War, Call of Duty, and more in the PlayStation 5 event last year. That's incredible. Good job, Scott. And at 9, Glam Rock Wardrobe Swap. This is something I didn't notice until I went into the comments of the first Security Breach trailer. In summer of 2020, Funko leaked the designs of the action figures for Security Breach, thus leaking the designs of the animatronics. People were pissed about this, obviously, since Scott had specifically told Funko not to release anything. At least, we figure, because, you know, he's Scott. I don't know if he made a post about it or something like that. Why does Funko leak literally everything? Everything possible, they leak. They're like Walmart. Anyway, the design of the characters from the gameplay trailer are actually different to those of the action figures released. This is most notable on Roxanne's clothes, where Scott moved the black star shapes, and on Monty's guitar, where he removed or made the black stripes smaller. Chica's guitar is also a lighter blue and mostly white, as opposed to the white and a darker blue of the original action figure. And the animatronics in the trailer are properly proportioned. The action figure heads are weird, okay? They creep me out. At least if these weren't preliminary designs. And at 8, Mangle Vent. FNAF VR introduced the vent repair minigames featuring Mangle and entered in some of the scariest experiences I've been through. I've played through the Mangle Vent repair from now on this channel, and it is quite a terrifying experience. Now, despite my idiocy in that video, dealing with 3 vents was fairly simple, since they open one by one. However, it was actually planned to have another vent at the top of the elevator. Every time you see that opening, you think, oh man, is Mangle gonna pop out there? But the thing is, it could have. Mangle was planned to have a 4th entry point this whole time. Can you imagine how rude of an awakening that would have been if nobody had noticed it? And how incredibly, utterly terrifying it would have been if that was implemented. Mangle would have had the high ground, and I would be screaming, I hate you. I am 100% certain that would have caused a lot more deaths. I know that I would have died if Mangle could have come in from the top. Imagine if it was behind you though, and like you'd have to like spin around 360. Oh my god, or all 5, especially in blacklight mode. And at 7, a Mobile Freddy. The original FNAF that Scott had in mind is not at all like the one we know today. Well, it is in the sense that it is what he wanted to make, but so many ideas and mechanics were added and changed that while we know FNAF is a point and click that gets progressively harder, adding more animatronics later on in a playthrough, that wasn't what Scott had planned at the beginning. In a statement that was most likely released on Reddit, Scott revealed that he had originally planned to make Freddy only jump scare you if you ran out of power, and that he never wanted him to leave the main stage. Eventually, this changed, and we'll never really know why. Perhaps it was because the game was too easy, or he wanted to see how things would work with 2 animatronics in the same hallway, or perhaps he had Freddy moving around but got jump scared randomly and kept it, or he just wanted to torture us like the sadistic fool we all know him to be. Why do you do this to me, Scott? Why? I'm just kidding, please notice me, Sky Daddy Scott. Please. Imagine if he didn't move and we were just waiting the whole time for him to move. And at 6, Blacklight mode. You may have seen the Blacklight animatronics if you pay attention to the FNAF merch. They released Blacklight plushies and pop figures a while ago without any real explanation. Well, as it turns out, these alternate colored animatronics are actually for Help Wanted's Blacklight mode, or hard mode, whatever you want to call it. You don't actually get to see them unless you boundary break, since the animatronics are hidden behind curtains that don't open in Blacklight mode, but they are still there. This is closer to the top because they weren't, like, totally, like, changed, but you can't really like interact with them or whatever, even when like close up. And they're even in the blacklight repair modes, but you can't really see them because it's all so goddamn dark. Chica's blacklight mode, Bonnie's blacklight mode, they're all the blacklight colored animatronics, but you can't actually tell, so yeah, I still kind of wish I got those pop figures. I still want like a glitching glitch trap, and I want like an actual glitch trap. And I should have gotten the pop figures when they came out. They're worth so much now. Halfway through in at number 5, the box. The infamous box was first released with the ending of FNAF 4, saying some things are best left forgotten for now, but we never knew what was in the box. However, the community seems to think that the contents of the box have changed. Originally, it's believed to be dream theory, since originally Scott said the community may not accept it that way. However, recently there are multiple theories, like that it contains the body of Crying Child, similarly to how Charlotte was found in the 4th Closet novel. But it's also been rumored to be revealed in the new Security Breach teaser game, like the side-scrolling beat-em-up brawler one. Yeah, I can't find any source that confirms this, however, so if anyone has any links about that, please send them to me on Instagram. Don't put them in the comments, because YouTube will probably automatically delete those. And at 4, cameras. The beta for FNAF was full of unused or cut features. Some of these things were interesting, like the original camera map. While now we see boxes that indicate the rooms that the cameras were located, and lines leading to other rooms, which are hallways and stuff like that. Originally, we saw the entire layout at once, and we could actually see the directions the cameras were facing, showing us what we'd really be looking at. I can see how this would be useful, but since the gameplay is more of a slideshow-esque format instead of the animatronics free roaming, like how they do in FNAF VR, we don't really need all that information. And the design we know and love today really keeps it simple and is really all we need. They'll end up in one position on a camera, or they'll be in another, and knowing the direction doesn't really matter if that's the case. It would have been interesting for sure and may have changed the game, but it's unnecessary unless the characters walked around all willy-nilly, like I said, like they do in FNAF VR. I mean, they don't walk around willy-nilly, but you can see them walking this time. Maybe then it would be useful, but like, I don't know. And at 3, rogue mechanics. If you're an avid fan of the channel or the Ultimate Custom Night, you may already know this detail, but in fact the mechanics for a few of the characters changed after just one day. Nightmare Freddy, Phone Guy, and Foxy were all implemented on April 1st with their behaviors based on wrong theories, basically disproving them at that moment and torturing us and William with them. Phone Guy couldn't talk while Springtrap was on the move, because he can't be in 2 places at once. Nightmare Freddy would wake you up from a nightmare for a bit before pulling you back to sleep and back into the game, and Foxy would come help you out by blocking a doorway. Neat ways of disproving theories, but really, Scott, you had to go with the whole Foxy is a good guy theory, and that's the one that you wanted to disprove, not something like really impactful. That's kind of a troll if you ask me. The next day though, the mechanics were switched to what they are today. So yeah, I don't know if you can still access them or not. Maybe if you change your date and your computer to the day that they were that, I don't know. I doubt it. It was an update, so. And ultimately in at number 2, co-op mode. Believe it or not, FNAF is actually going to include a co-op mode. Well, at least in Help Wanted. In the game files, there is a folder called Multiplayer that has several files stored within it. These files are named like Character Info Table, MP Game Mode, and so on, suggesting that there was a multiplayer mode actually planned for release. But it's now unclear whether it will be entirely scrapped, saved for a future update, or implemented into Security Breach. Cause, you know, Fanny has all your friends. Maybe some more of them other than Gregory escaped. What would a multiplayer mode look like? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Would you play it? Let me know below. My theory is that the multiplayer mode may have been used for the trailer of FNAF VR, since you can see the hands and the head of the person playing, but maybe it's something more. Maybe they were testing stuff out for Security Breach. Why wouldn't they remove those files from the game? And like, why would they call it multiplayer if it was just for a trailer though? You see why I'm confused? However, if you want to play multiplayer FNAF, you can by using custom VR chat maps. I don't know how to work custom VR chat maps, but like maybe I can figure it out and do like a group meetup thing, like on my channel or something. Like maybe I could make a map, like live stream on like my Twitch or something, I don't know. It sounds complicated, plus you don't need a VR headset to actually play VR chat. There is a flat mode version, and like the entire game is free. It's the same thing, you just download VR chat, you don't have to have a headset for it. So like you can do this with your friends, literally right now. Like go open Steam, download VR chat, figure out how to work custom maps, and you're good. You can go play FNAF in multiplayer. Finally, in at number 1, the end. The FNAF story we know and love, but also rage out on a daily basis. Wait. That's just me and MatPat? Sorry to assume. Well, the complicated story that makes me cry myself to sleep actually could have been a lot simpler and to the point. 3 games, 1 story. That's right. In case you missed it in previous lists, the FNAF story was only meant to be 3 games long, with William dying in the FNAF 3 fire. However, the community thought that the Springtrap jump scare was disappointing, so Scott overcorrected in FNAF 4 with the nightmare animatronics. But then we got more confused, so he continued. The story could have been 3 games long. Maybe even no book, no movie, no Fazbear Frights. Yeah, that's insane. It's incredibly nuts to think that this 9-game long story could have been just a third of that length. No AR game, no VR game. Goddamn, that just makes me rethink my whole life. Like, is this really what the channel should be covering? I could be talking about Skyrim right now. I love Skyrim. It's my favorite game. Why don't I do that? No one would click it, that's for damn sure. In a 10 mini arena. A load of these secret animatronics are coming from FNAF VR, okay? And most of them involve just minor appearances and don't have any actual impact on gameplay. But the mini arena can sometimes pop up in the Fun with Plush Trap minigame in FNAF VR. I don't actually know if it can pop up with the Fun and Balloon Boy version or even the Blacklight version, but I'm not sure, okay? Just look it up. I know I probably should have looked it up, but I didn't, so do it yourself. However, this Easter egg is rare and hasn't happened to me or anyone that I've seen play this game unless they were intentionally looking for it in like they were in the video that I actually watched to help find things for this list. Like, there aren't any actual animatronics that haven't been revealed, or something like that, okay? If they hadn't been revealed, how would I be able to make this list? However, I think it might have happened to Eddie VR when he was playing through. I think he might have had the mini arena pop up, but I can't quite remember. I'm pretty sure he might have experienced this, but I didn't. Hit at 9, Plush Trap. Plush Trap, while not really being secret, will appear in 50-20 mode in Ultimate Custom Night. 50-20 mode being where you set all of the 50 animatronics to level 20 and then you play. Which, if you do, you're an absolute crazy person and you need to be put away. Well, probably not, but that's the whole point of the game, but still, okay? Plush Trap will be added in by Dee Dee when she starts singing about how things are unfortunate. Haha, you don't know the half of it. But if you do see Dee Dee add a new challenger, be sure you check Cam 6 right away, because if she does indeed add Plush Trap, he will be sitting on a stool in that hallway. And you only have 6 seconds to actually scare him off, otherwise he'll jump scare you no matter what you do. If you scare him off after those 6 seconds, he's gonna come after you anyway, like a freaking turd, okay? Why you gotta be so much of a Is it because your dad abandoned you saying that he was gonna go get some milk and then actually came back with more kids to kill, or no, he just didn't come back? Sorry Plush Trap, but you know what? You deserve it. This might have gone too far. In at 8, Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Bonnie is another character that can be added into the game after Dee Dee starts singing like my Aunt Denise at Thanksgiving after having a little too much cranberry sauce. Our cranberry sauce is special. It's spiked with just a bottle of vodka. Now I don't know why she does it. She just does. Do cranberries? Why am I still talking about cranberries? Damn, I was getting really off track. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, Shadow Bonnie can just be thrown into the game at literally any time, usually closer to the start of the night, however. When active, Shadow Bonnie will appear in your office on the right hand side and will proceed to flicker the lights and then just cut them off for around 20 to 21 seconds. It's like that SpongeBob episode where it was the hash singing slasher and then it was just that one dude was flicking the lights. Yeah, it's like that. During that time where your office is practically pitch black though, you are unable to see if any of the animatronics are actually coming at you unless you use a flashlight, thus you waste more power. It's a pretty strong ability, if I'm being kind of honest, and if I had the ability to just turn off the lights whenever I wanted without needing a light switch, I'd be having a lot more fun. Just imagine all these lights going off at once, and you going oh, what the hell, and I just flick them back on. Oh, messing with Chris would be so easy. And at 7, Endo. Endo is basically just a naked endoskeleton that totally screws with what the phone guy was saying in FNAF 1 to explain the animatronics attacking you. He said it's because when they look at you, you look like a naked endoskeleton, but then there's ones just standing in your office in FNAF 2 and FNAF VR, and they totally ignore it. This one is similar to the mini arena. You just keep restarting the level and eventually you'll find an endo standing to the right of your desk, okay? This can happen in both blacklight mode and regular mode on any night. And I know that the explanation for why they're they're attacking you is because you play as Michael and all that jazz, and they don't actually think that you're an endoskeleton, okay? But like, I don't like logical inconsistencies. I've probably made so many countering comments over previous videos that I can't really talk about inconsistencies, but you know what? I don't care. No one's trying to piece together the lore of my life, so that's fine. Inconsistencies in these games though, when I'm literally doing it as a job, that's a problem. Halfway through, nope, not halfway through, and it's 6, Nightmare Chica. Nightmare Chica is one of the most terrifying secret animatronics in any of the games. Again, summoned by Dee Dee after she sings her song, Nightmare Chica will appear behind you, and is actually capable of jump scaring you. You'll know if Chica is behind you because all of a sudden, you'll see teeth. Yes, if Nightmare Chica is summoned, you will literally see her start to close her mouth around you. To fight this off, you either need to turn off the air conditioning or the heat in an effort to make her go away, but once you do that, she's done for the night. I don't know if Dee Dee can pop back up again and summon her again, but if she can't, then you won't have to deal with it again. But if Chica closes her mouth around your head, she will jump scare you, end the night, and let's be honest, probably claw your face off, then use it as pepperoni. Although, if I'm being totally frank, if she's closed her mouth around my face, aren't I already dead? Halfway through into number 5, Helpy. Oh my god, I hate this little bugger, okay? And not because of like buff Helpy anymore, just because of the damn Helpy horror sections from the Poxy Cove. You know? But just because of the goddamn Helpy horror sections from the Foxy Pirate Ride thing from Curse of Dreadbear, okay? But while Helpy makes a prominent appearance there, you may not have had a chance to see him appear in the main menu screen for this game. Yes, in the main level selection screen, or for the base game, kind of like the main hub area, Helpy can appear holding onto the monitor and hanging off the side like some sort of demonic fireman. And if it wasn't terrifying enough, because let's face it, if you load in expecting to see a normal monitor, then you get a bear right in your face, you'd be concerned too. You can also see Helpy in FNAF 2's office, behind you, as some sort of weird peeping Tom who gets off on you being terrified and then uses it as motivation to work out later. Actually, I feel like that's everyone in the comments section. You all want to see me get terrified every single time I play a game, and it's not fun. Anyways, you can encounter him at the same time as the Endo, which makes it just even worse. Like, did he put Endo there? Did I put Endo there? I don't know. I'm tired. And at 4, Lolbit. Lolbit does actually make an appearance in Ultimate Custom Night, however it's not in the same vein as the others. While the other animatronics are actually visible, Lolbit's bit is just a load of loud noises and please stand by graphics showing up on the screen, blocking the middle of your vision. The whole point of this character is to cause noise, since there are characters who jump scare you based on sound, as made evident by the noise bar at the bottom left of the screen. This makes a whole lot of noise for a very long time, meaning that the animatronics will know where you are, and Music Man, if he is in the game, will jump scare you basically immediately because Music Man hates noise for some reason. Gotta love that logic. The man's a DJ, but literally any form of noise in FNAF 6, he'll rip your face off. Getting close to the end in number 3, Biddy Bap. Biddy Bap, Biddy Bap. Biddy Bap. The appearance of Biddy Bap is identical to that of the mini-arenas in FNAF VR. The Biddy Bap may show up in Circus Baby's dark room level, where you need to hide in the closet like my sister was. However, this time, you're hiding from Baby as she looks around the room for you until she sees you, runs over to you, and then makes you hold the door closed until she forgets that you're there, then goes away until she sees you again in the closet, and then you have to do the same thing for hours and hours. But by like hours and hours by in-game standards. But by the door, by like the front door to the room, not to the closet, you can actually end up seeing a little Biddy Bap standing there, menacingly. And if you were one of the people who commented on the scariest FNAF animatronics video saying that the Biddy Baps weren't scary, obviously you haven't seen this Easter egg because holy crap, it's terrifying, okay? It's there, staring, laughing, wanting us to die. Penultimately, in number 2, XOR. Now, I didn't know that Elon Musk's kid was an animatronic, but this animatronic is actually in the same vein as Shadow Bonnie, with a name that still makes more sense than X-Ash Archangel 12. Like, I get that they say that they changed the name or something like that, but okay, still. What's with celebs naming their kids weird? This animatronic though is referred to as Shadow Dee Dee, which acts in a similar way to Dee Dee in this game. However, their color palette is changed to black, white, and red, and the song she sings goes backwards and is lower pitched. However, this is probably the worst thing that you can get in this game, because instead of summoning one of the extra animatronics, XOR summons all of them. Every single one. Hell, based on the description of the wiki, it may summon every single animatronic in the game. Yeah, that's terrifying. But there's still one animatronic that was honestly a real surprise, and the most interesting one on this list. And finally, in at number 1, Coffee. Now, in FNAF VR, you can see multiple animatronics, most of which were on this list. However, the most interesting one, that is probably the only actual secret animatronic on this list, is Coffee, which isn't even an animatronic from the FNAF series. It's actually from another one of Scott's series, which failed, like every other game before FNAF, a game called Desolate Hope. And Coffee is an autonomous service robot designed to tend to the needs of nearby humans. It's basically a sentient coffee machine that actually makes coffee, unlike the one at Yog Labs. Coffee can be seen in Five Nights 3 if you reload the level enough times, and he'll just be sitting on your desk, unable to be interacted with, and he won't even make you coffee, which is kind of rude. Honestly, maybe he is more like the Yog Labs coffee machine than I thought. Welcome to Yog Labs. Sorry, guys. Minecraft Nightmare got me all back into all the Minecraft things, so I can't help but make references now, and then Yog Labs and Yog's Cast, and yeah. And 10 Mini Arena. A load of these secret animatronics are going to be coming from FNAF VR, and most of them involve just minor appearances and they don't have any effect on actual gameplay. The mini arena can sometimes pop up in the Fun with Plush Trap minigame in FNAF VR. I don't actually know if it can pop up in the Fun with Balloon Boy version or even the Blacklight version, so don't assume if they will or won't, just look it up, which is probably something I should have done for this list. However, this Easter egg is rare and hasn't happened to me or anyone I've seen play it unless they were intentionally looking for it like in the video that I used, because there aren't any actual secret animatronics that haven't been revealed or something like that. It's just secret appearances. We know everything we can about this series at this point, so let's just accept this list for what it is. And 9 Plush Trap. Plush Trap will appear in 50-20 mode in Ultimate Custom Night. 50-20 mode being where you set 50 animatronics to level 20 and then you play. Which if you do, you are an absolute mad lad and you need to be put away. Okay, not actually, because that's the whole point of the game, but still. Plush Trap will be added in by Dee Dee when she starts singing about how things are unfortunate. Oh sis, you don't even know the half of it. However, if you do see Dee Dee add a new challenger, be sure you check Cam 6 right away. Because if she does indeed add Plush Trap, he will be sitting on a stool in the hallway and you only have 6 seconds to scare him off, otherwise he will jump scare you, no matter what you do. If you scare him off after those 6 seconds, he's going to come back anyway, you little frickin' turd. Why you gotta be so rude? Is it because your dad abandoned you saying he's gonna go kill more kids but he never came back with any of them for you to kill? In this case, I'm also assuming that Springtrap is your dad because you look like him the most. And it ate Endo. Endo is basically just a naked endoskeleton that totally screws with what the phone guy says in FNAF 1 to explain why the animatronics are attacking you. He said it's because you look like a naked endoskeleton, but then there is one standing right there in your office in FNAF 2 and FNAF VR. They totally ignore it. This one is similar to the mini arena. Just keep restarting the level and eventually you will find Endo standing at the right of your desk. This can happen in both blacklight mode and regular mode on any night. And I know that now the explanation for why they're attacking you is because you play as Michael Afton, who looks like his father, who's the one that killed all the kids in the first place, but come on. I really don't like logical inconsistencies. I've probably made so many countering comments over previous videos. I probably can't say anything about logical inconsistencies at this point. And at 7, Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Bonnie is another challenger that can be added into the game after Dee Dee starts singing like my Aunt Denise at Thanksgiving after having a little too much cranberry sauce. I don't know why she does it, she just does. Do cranberries have any hallucinogenic properties to them, like nutmeg in high doses? Or would berries in Pokemon potentially be hallucinogenic? Hence why the Pokemon think that their HP just got increased by 10. As I was saying, Shadow Bonnie can just be thrown into the game at any time, usually closer to the start of the night. However, when active, Shadow Bonnie will appear in your office on the right hand side, and then will just proceed to flicker the lights and then just cut them off completely for around 20 to 21 seconds. During that time, the office is practically pitch black, and you are unable to see if there are any other animatronics with you unless you use a flashlight, thus wasting even more power. It's a pretty strong ability if I'm being totally honest. If I had the ability to just turn off lights whenever I wanted without needing a light switch, I would be having so much fun. Who the hell? And 6, Helpy. Oh my god, I hate this little bugger. And not just because of Buff Helpy anymore, just because of the damn Helpy horror sections from the Foxy Cove Pirate Ride and the Curse of Dreadbear DLC. But while Helpy makes a prominent appearance there, you may not have had a chance to see him appear in the main menu screen for the game. In the main level selection screen for the base game, Helpy can appear holding onto the monitor and hanging off the side like some sort of demonic fireman. And if that wasn't terrifying enough, because let's face it, if you load in expecting to see a normal menu screen and then you see a giant bear right in front of your face, you'd be pretty concerned too. You can also see Helpy in FNAF 2's office, behind you, like some sort of weird peeping Tom that gets off on you being terrified and uses it as motivation to work out later. Yeah, you can also encounter him at the same time as Endo, making this all the more terrifying. Like, did he put Endo in your office? Why would he do that? How is Helpy even at the FNAF 2 location? Who knows anymore? I sure as hell don't. Halfway through at number 5, Nightmare Chica. Nightmare Chica is one of the most terrifying secret animatronics in the whole game of Ultimate Custom Night. Again, summoned after Dee Dee sings her song, Nightmare Chica will appear right behind you, and is actually capable of jump scaring the player. You'll know if Chica is behind you because you will all of a sudden see the teeth. Yes, if Nightmare Chica is summoned, you will literally see her start to close her mouth around you, and to fight this off, you either need to turn on the air conditioning or the heat in an effort to make her go away. But once you do that, she's done for the night. I don't know if Dee Dee can pop back up and summon her again, but if she can't, then you won't have to deal with her again. If Chica closes her mouth around your head, she will jump scare you, end the night, and let's be honest, probably claw your face off and use it as pepperoni. You also have to turn the AC on, which is weird because I had to turn my AC off, and it's been off for like 10 minutes, and it's already up to 30 degrees in my apartment, so yay. And at 4, Biddy Bap. The appearance of Biddy Bap is identical to that of the Mini Rena in FNAF VR. The Biddy Bap may show up in Circus Baby's dark room level, where you need to hide in the closet like my roommate did for countless years. However, this time you're hiding from Baby as she looks around the room for you until she sees you, runs over, then makes you close the door and hold it shut until she forgets you're there and then goes away. Until she sees you again, then you have to close the door and then do the same thing for hours and hours. But by the door, you can end up seeing a little Biddy Bap just standing there, menacingly. And if you are one of the people who commented on the first scariest FNAF animatronics video saying that the Biddy Baps weren't scary, obviously you haven't seen this Easter egg, because holy crap, it's terrifying just to see it there, staring, laughing, wanting us to die and suffer. It's like any normal baby. Just kidding, Landon, don't fire me. And at 3, Lolbit. Lolbit actually does make an appearance in Ultimate Custom Night, however, it's not in the same vein as the others. While the other animatronics are actually visible, Lolbit's bit is just a load of loud noises as the Please Stand By graphic shows up on the screen, blocking the middle of your vision. The whole point of this character is to cause noise, since there are characters who jump scare you based on sound, as made evident by the noise bar in the bottom left of the screen. This makes a whole lot of noise for a long time, meaning that all the animatronics will know you're there, and the Music Man, if he is in the game, will jump scare you basically immediately, because Music Man hates noise for some reason. Gotta love that logic. And a 2, XOR. I didn't know that Elon Musk's kid was an animatronic. This animatronic is actually in the same vein as Shadow Bonnie, with a name that still makes more sense than X-Ash Archangel 12 in Roman numerals. This animatronic is referred to as Shadow Dee Dee, which acts in a similar way to Dee Dee in this game. However, the color palette changes to black, white, and red, and the song she sings goes backwards and is lower pitched. However, this is probably the worst thing you can get in this game, because instead of summoning one extra animatronic, it summons all of them. Every single one. Hell, based on the description on the wiki, it may summon every single animatronic in the game. Yeah, it's terrifying. But there is one animatronic that is honestly a real surprise and is probably the most interesting one on this list. So, coming in at number 1, Coffee. Now, in FNAF VR, you can see multiple animatronics, all of which were on this list. However, the most interesting one is probably the only actual secret animatronic on this list, and it's Coffee, which isn't even an animatronic from the FNAF series. It's actually from another one of Scott's games, which failed, like every other game before FNAF. Coffee is from the game called Desolate Hope, and it's an autonomous service robot designed to tend to the needs of nearby humans. It's basically a sentient coffee machine that actually makes coffee, unlike the one from Yog Labs. Coffee can be seen in Five Nights 3 if you reload the level enough times in FNAF VR, and he will be sitting on your desk, unable to be interacted with, and he won't even make you coffee. Maybe he is more like the Yogglap's coffee machine than I thought. And it's in the books. The main series of FNAF books, those being the Silver Eyes, the Twisted Ones, and the Fourth Closet, don't have much connection to the actual games. They tell a different story, yet on another Earth or something like that. However, they are from the same mind as the games, so they do share common elements, and they would have some hints to help us figure out the base series, because he'd already have a story in mind for that, and he can't really just lose it entirely. But where the books really come in clutch is the Fazbear Frights series, a book series originally said to only have 5 books that ended up getting itself some more. The Fazbear Frights books are, by Scott's own words, meant to help us solve various aspects of the games, and that's where these books come in handy. Without them, we wouldn't know how William always came back, or that he just never died until actually possessing the hard drive, and many more things. So maybe if you're looking for answers, these books are the place to go first. Also because these stories are genuinely scary. And at 9, the names don't matter. Scott Cawthon is the creator of the FNAF games, so I think that we can take his word for everything in the series. Unless he's trying to troll us at least. And in an interview, I'm pretty certain with Daco, he said that the names he gave the characters don't really matter. There wasn't much thought behind it, especially in the first game. The names of Jeremy, Fritz, and Mike Schmidt don't really matter. Now, whether the names of all the characters don't matter is up for debate, since he, after the first game, wanted to tell a story, so we unfortunately can't throw away or confirm the Mike Schmidt-Michael Adams connection yet. However, if you're currently looking into the meaning of those names, and maybe even names like Gregory or Elizabeth, maybe it's best to hold off on that until it's our only option. I personally don't think that we've presented every possible scenario yet, mostly because other people don't want to hear anything other than what's been generally understood right now. Like what we generally accept as what happened in FNAF, people don't want to hear something else. But hey, that's not my problem. And an 8 FNAF multiverse. I personally cannot wait for the FNAF multiverse canon. I'm really interested to see where that canon's story will go, and if it will be easier to follow than the main FNAF story. The new universe, of course, being thanks to the Fazbear Fanverse initiative Scott has put together, helping fan game creators have funding to make additional games in their series, or releasing new and updated versions for their old games, with popular series like Five Nights at Candy's getting another game, as well as The Joy of Creation getting a remade collection. But this also contains FNAF Plus, a fan recreation of the first game which looks utterly terrifying, and will serve as the start of that FNAF universe's timeline. If they used like the main games, it would be complicated and like it would be weird, okay? Like from a lore perspective, like it would have to be the exact same thing, and it would be weird. I love the idea of multiple Earths, as I'm sure you all know, where anything you can imagine is literally happening on another planet, and I think that that's really inspirational at times. Like you can literally do whatever you want, like whatever you set your mind to, because it's happening somewhere already. You just gotta have it happen here too. Like how else am I supposed to find the motivation to take over the world? Honestly. And at 7, the apple tree. The saying goes the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and while that isn't always the case, it certainly became the case for Elizabeth in the FNAF series. Elizabeth being the daughter of the purple guy we all know and some of us love a little too much. You know, William Afton. Elizabeth, however, gets scooped on the first day of Circus Baby's Pizza World being open and gets the place shut down after a single day. She ends up possessing the animatronic in a story we all know too well, but she goes a little crazy while being an animatronic, willing to kill you in Sister Location when the power goes out, and then, you know, killing Henry in FNAF World, which is kind of poetic in a way. Like father, like daughter in this case. William took Henry's daughter's life, and William's daughter took Henry's life, which is weirdly beautiful but also horrible. And this girl is out there chopping heads off, and she like wasn't even old enough to make a Club Penguin account. Yikes. And at 6, Stuck in the Middle. And to those of you who may be confused as to why it would have been Elizabeth killing Henry even though she was possessing Baby at the time of his death, Elizabeth is still inside Baby. We can see it much like how we can see the body of someone else in Funtime Freddy's wireframe and the blueprints in FNAF 6. There is actually a body of a kid stuck inside Baby as well. And I don't know about you, but I don't think that William would have taken his daughter's body out of Baby since she had, you know, possessed the animatronic, and then just like threw Baby back out there to collect more kids instead of studying her even more. Like at this point, William already knew about Remnant, but he had never seen it work. He had never seen the possession work. He knew about it, but he didn't know about it, you know? But this time, it had something to do with his family. He had a personal stake in the matter. And the FNAF 6 wireframe is what Henry was using to lure Baby back so that he could release Elizabeth, and doesn't mention any other kind of kid that would be trapped inside of Elizabeth, or Baby, or whatever, they're the same thing. So, yeah. Halfway through at number 5, fan art. Continuing on the FNAF multiverse idea, the whoopsie we know from the original cover art of FNAF VR Help Wanted could be in fact another addition to this multiverse. While not intended, the original cover art did contain fan art. The FNAF multiverse opens up this cover to actually being a reality. If anything, these could already be in theory canon, because it's been made and released. It's not some theoretical thing that could have happened, it actually did happen, and there was a decent kerfuffle about it when the news first dropped. But at least it could be a way to get like a few more characters into the FNAF multiverse, which is definitely going to be a thing with the new FNAF games, and already a thing with the books and the upcoming movie. At least at some point, because this thing is going to have us waiting longer than The Elder Scrolls 6. And that hurts me to say on a personal level. Headed for Glitch Trap Conspiracy. Glitch Trap is the antagonist of the latest main series title, FNAF Help Wanted, the VR title that later got itself a flat version. However, he was supposedly an accident after being scanned in when they used a hard drive in order to make the AI of the animatronics. However, for an accident, this character is able to do an awful lot in game. He can interact with things like curtains and other sections of the game. Like, how is he able to do that if he was just an accident? Sure, they would have AI, but they would have had to code separate collision, right? Maybe not because like he's a spirit, but who knows. It just seems off to me like he had to have some form of help to get the control that he does in game. At least being able to interact with aspects of the game. Like he shouldn't be able to do that, right? Even we can't move curtains and stuff. The hard drive was just for AI, not collisions. And no other animatronics really move things other than Foxy and the camera and the DLC. Like, at least from what I've seen. Like, and the whole like, oh yeah, here, use this hard drive, it'll help you with the AI, that just seems shifty to me. I don't know, it's weird, okay? Something's going on there. Vanny wasn't around yet, so who did it? Who gave him the hard drive? Who did it? Which one of you? No one's going home until someone tells me who did it. And at 3, flash forward. One confusing part of the game lore to me is the death of Henry Emily, the father of the puppet and the one who set the fires in both FNAF 3 and FNAF 6. Since he stays to burn in FNAF 6, so nobody will remember the horrors that occurred. But thanks to FNAF World's additional cutscenes after an update, where we see the introduction of Baby and the death of Henry, who we figured was Henry because he says he helped create the monster, which would most likely be referring to William or the animatronics, but either way, Henry helped. But like I said, if he dies in FNAF World, how is he alive in FNAF 6? That couldn't have been Henry, right? Well, who else is at the FNAF 6 location? Baby. It could very well be that this is a flash forward to the FNAF 6 location even before sister location had been released, which is crazy and pretty cool. It also explains why Baby had to get kicked out of the Enter tribe, because she had to be a separate entity so that she could kill William, like that cutscene. And at 2, no sequels. This is fairly common knowledge, but it's something everyone seems to forget, and honestly, it's crazy to think about. The original game was meant to be Scott's final attempt at being a game designer after multiple games not taking off. But thanks to some incredible ideas, reviews, mysteries, and YouTuber support, the game blew up and got itself some sequels. However, since there was no intended sequel, the canonicity of the first game can be confusing. Does it matter? Should we ignore it? No, because while it may be slightly outdated, Scott has said that the game still has significance and the game is still canon. What that really means is unknown, like if all the parts of it matter, or if we should just keep an eye on this game since it will be needed to sort out the whole timeline. Like, we don't know if all of it matters or if the things that don't conflict aren't canon. We aren't sure. Finally, in at number 1, the end. There was actually meant to be an end to FNAF. The Five Nights series wasn't intended on being more than one game, as I said before, but after it got a sequel, the game wasn't going to be as long as we know it to be today. The story wasn't going to be as complicated and convoluted as it is now, because the series was supposed to end after FNAF 3. The series was going to be fairly cut and dry. William kills 5 kids by luring them into the back room, and then they get possessed. The restaurant closes and then reopens after sealing his Springtrap body inside. He is then released and Fazbear Frights opens, but burns to the ground with him inside, and with FNAF 3 being the original ending, William would have died in that fire, and honestly, I would have loved that. No confusing crying child or Big Brother shenanigans, no convoluted timeline, but Scott ended up making FNAF 4 because the community was overall disappointed with the Springtrap jump scare, and he didn't want something that disappointed people to be the last game of the series. That's why the nightmare animatronics are so terrifying. It's an overcorrection. And honestly, I understand, because, like, I am too. I'm disappointed with it. Hence why I don't think that Springtrap is that as scary of an animatronic, but also because he isn't an animatronic, he's a dude in a suit, but still. So yeah, FNAF 3 would have been the end of the series if the Springtrap jump scare had actually been scary. So I guess we can thank William for our continued content and channel growth. Thanks, dude. Many lives have been sacrificed. That's also from another interview of his, in case you're wondering. And at 10, FNAF 4 House. Starting off with the most recent game in the series, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted Curse of Dreadbear DLC. If you decide to take a break from all the spook, you are able to get some special views of the scenery that had quite a lot of effort put into it. They have special events like Dreadbear rising out of the blood red sea, hand walking into a barn behind you, Foxy's ship swaying over that very same sea, and the ever so looming Dreadbear spawning giant-sized over the hills. But finally, we can actually place where this Halloween festival is taking place. In the distance on the hill, you are able to see the silhouette of a very familiar house, the same silhouette that appears in Five Nights 4. This house is commonly believed to be the Afton's family residence, which implies some things that will be taken into account later in this list. There's a lot of Help Wanted stuff in here because everyone has already picked the other hidden secrets to shreds, so like I gotta use the new stuff. Like, there's not really an option. Except for number 9, IV, flowers, and pills. One of the most common theories about what is happening in Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is that what we are experiencing is happening in the mind of the crying child, who is laying in a hospital bed because of the bite and who will die at the end of the game. This theory was first brought on by the Easter eggs of an IV, a vase of flowers, and a jar of pills that can be visible next to the child's bed when the screen is brightened, because we all know how much we love to brighten screens now. These are no doubt referencing the fact that we are just truly waiting in the hospital, just approaching our deaths, thanks to the flatline we hear at the end of the game. This led to the idea that the whole game series is a dream, and that you can play as the crying child in all of them, living out a life full of terror thanks to the animatronics that took your sister. And at 8, Ultimate Custom FNAF World. This Easter egg was pointed out by MapHat in one of his final timeline videos for Ultimate Custom Night, where he started the video spending 10 minutes downloading a fresh copy of both FNAF World and Ultimate Custom Night so that nothing had been unlocked yet. In FNAF World, you were able to dive deep into the game's code and visit Old Man Consequences, who will say some things and then ultimately make you drown yourself because you need to get out. This reveals the secret ending of the game and gives you a trophy for it. In Ultimate Custom Night, you are able to visit Old Man Consequences as well, who tells you to leave the demon to his demons and rest your own soul. However, if you do this, you'll need to drown yourself again to leave the game. Doing this while never even playing a second of FNAF World will unlock the Old Man Consequences trophy, which is odd, but might be Scott's way of saying that the game is still canon. I mean, it did talk about sentient code and things in the game affecting the things in the real world, since you lay out clues for FNAF 3, probably hinting at the fact that the game may be the key in solving the lore going forward. Since we're seeing the same sorts of things emerge, sentient code, games affecting the outside world, it's interesting and worth exploring further. I just don't have the time for it. And at 7, Consequences. In Ultimate Custom Night, if you put Old Man Consequences in at level 1 and play his minigame, you can end up visiting his pond like in FNAF World. However, while doing this, you can hear a very faint ambiance. While it may seem like normal Five Nights at Freddy's sounds at first, when sped up it actually sounds like the distorted screams of a man. The sound goes from 2 minutes and 54 seconds to 18 seconds, and is commonly believed to be William Afton screaming in the deepest depths of hell, since we're playing as him in Ultimate Custom Night. But this also means that Afton isn't experiencing the mini game with Old Man Consequences, so how are we able to see it? And who are we playing as in this pond? Probably Golden Freddy, Cassidy, the one you should not have killed, the one who is torturing Afton for all eternity in the deepest damnation of hell because they can't leave the demon to his demons and rest their own soul. Because while there may be nothing else, at least revenge is something, right? And at 6, Endo. To find the secret, you'll need to play FNAF 2 and Help Wanted quite a bit. The fact that when you load the game, you can start off with an endoskeleton just standing in your office is honestly terrifying. And there are plenty of more secret animatronics in Help Wanted, like Helpy being behind the monitor, but he'd only get his own spot if he was buff Helpy, because that would be scary. The fact that he doesn't do anything doesn't help either. We're supposed to believe that the other animatronics attack naked endoskeletons, but actually, they will leave this damn thing alone. Sure, it's because it's the first location we see in the game, so they haven't gotten that feature yet, but that just begs the question, why did they get that feature in the first place? Why did someone think it was needed for them to make this hideous beast their target? Why? Why was it required? Was it just because he was just like, oh, I'm just gonna stand around in the office, and they're like, no, get him out? I don't know. Halfway through at number 5, Mini Rena and Biddy Bap. The mini arenas actually appear in Help Wanted. In the plush trap darkroom, you have the chance to see one of them in one of the doors, which is probably just a distraction tactic used by Scott just to get you to get jump scared. But it's still going to damn well work. And you can also encounter a Biddy Bap doll in Baby's mini game where you need to close the closet door in the FNAF 4 house. But not for too long, otherwise the plush babies will kill you. Yeah, you can see the Biddy Bap near the door, and honestly it's just freaky. Especially because you can't look at it for too long, otherwise baby jump scares you because you still gotta close the damn door. Also, has anyone completed the game using only flat mode? Because from what I've seen, the game is way harder that way. If you haven't completed the game using only flat mode, let me know in the comments because congratulations. Holy damn. And at 4 secret audio. In the Corn Maze stage in the Curse of Dreadbear DLC, after collecting all 4 keys you are able to find a 5th purple key, where if you find it you are able to unlock the cellar in the middle of the map. If you do, you enter, finding a glitch trap bunny mask on the table of the barn you go to whenever you successfully complete a mission. Except this time, it's busted up and rotten. If you wear this mask in the main hub, which you can after unlocking it, you should hold the glitch trap plush you get after defeating him using the tape bros instructions. If you do so, you hear some creepy audio of a one-sided conversation between a female and someone else. Most likely glitch trap since you know you need to be holding his plush. It seems as if she's preparing, making sure she is ready for something, and that she's made the mask. Perhaps she is waiting for his return. I mean, there was that female rabbit with a knife in one of the latest Freddy Fazbear promos. It's probably her, in all honesty. And at 3, Spring Bonnie. In Five Nights 3 on Cam 10, there is a poster of Freddy. This is the typical sight, however you can rarely see a Spring Bonnie replacing the poster, showing a cartoonish version of the main antagonist of the game. While this could very well just be a golden Bonnie, the fact that it appears in the game surrounding William Afton in the Springtrap suit is enough cause to believe that this is meant to be Spring Bonnie. It's a cute poster if you ignore all the blood and decay surrounding it, but I mean, it's about everyone's favorite human in a suit that got a load of spring locks shoved into him yet somehow survived until Pizzeria Simulator, where he ultimately burns to death in the worst parody of Blaze of Glory ever. At least he gets his comeuppance in Ultimate Custom Night, where he is being tortured by the souls of the damned for all eternity. Or is he? This is actually really interesting, especially if Glitch Trap is Willie Afton. Where's his soul gonna be if he gets out of the game? Like what? Penultimately at number 2, Glitch Trap Dance. Again, heading to the Curse of Dreadbear DLC. While in blacklight mode, or hard mode as some call it, in the main menu, if you press the button on the back of the monitor and look at the car with its headlights on for around 10 seconds, this can trigger the sight of Glitch Trap dancing at the top of the hill near the FNAF 4 house. This seems to be pointing to the highly believed theory that Glitch Trap is William Afton, who saved his consciousness in circuit boards, who has been brought back to life in Help Wanted. This could also answer the question of whose car is sitting there. It could be the player's, but they acknowledge how the game is a game, so why would the car be yours? The fact that you need to look at the car indicates to me that it is William Afton's car, the one we see him kill Henry's kitten in FNAF 2, and the one he drives in Midnight Motorist. That's what it seems like to me, and to several others as well, so there you go. Finally, in at number 1, it's me. There was only one person who was able to see this Easter egg to my knowledge, and it involves getting the Curse of Dreadbear DLC and completing the game to be taken to the victory screen. There you will find 3 posters reminiscent of the ones in the alleyway in Pizzeria Simulator. However, the issue arises when you realize that to be able to unlock this Easter egg, you need to get 3 clown posters, which is incredibly rare, and I mean like incredibly rare. Plus, then you need to hit them with darts, which you only get 4 of, and if you miss 2 of them, you're screwed. So be sure you get your skills up to par before actually finding these posters. If you do manage to do this, the barn changes to seemingly a blacklight version, where the banner changes to read "It's me" and everything starts glowing because of the blacklight. While this hasn't been completed by more than Johnny Blocks from what I've seen, it may still be true, but I mean he did also do that and then get 3 cat posters like immediately after, so he might have been hacking. I'll have to look into it on my own to see if it's real. It would take a long time though.
Number 10. The show will begin momentarily. When you go to see Desk Man, there is a direct reference to Sister Location that can be spotted, or rather heard. You can hear the version of Circus Baby from FNAF World saying out loud, "The show will begin momentarily. Everyone please stay in your seats." While the lights are out, it's here that Desk Man ends up being killed. We don't know if it's Baby that causes his death or whether he does so himself. And friends, before we move on to our next spot, just a quick reminder to please click like if you love this video. Anytime that you click like, you know we get a day closer to a new FNAF game. Actually, if we get a certain amount of likes, I think we get the new FNAF game like right now. I'm just kidding, that's not gonna happen. But if you want more FNAF, you can also check out our playlist. Number 9. Desk Man. Many believe that Desk Man is actually William Afton or Scott Cawthon. We don't know for sure, but he definitely seems to be someone who is meant to be either of those creators, just based on all the words that he says. Desk Man at one point asks you about deactivating his games, which makes him seem like he's Scott, who makes games. However, at another time he tells you that it is too late to do anything as Baby is here and she can't be deactivated, which makes him seem like he's actually William Afton. Desk Man overall is definitely a mystery and secret just waiting to be solved. His death and the words he says could reflect the games or the lore depending on which role he's actually meant to resemble. Number 8. Instant Refight. Refight? Is that a thing? Now it's a thing. I made it a thing. You're welcome. For Pork Patch, who is one of the bosses in the game and is terrifying by the way, there is a little secret that you might find useful while playing, which allows you to refight him immediately after you fail. If you fail. Hopefully you don't fail. Pork Patch just looks like some Franken-Pig animatronic by the way, like an animatronic that may or may not have been made out of real pork, which is now like rotting away. I'm personally, I'm a little disturbed. For the Pork Patch fight, there is a little shortcut you can use, sailing on your little lily pad around and down and hitting a button in the world to refight him again. And if you didn't know about that, now you know. Number 7. The honking sound. Throughout the game franchise, there have been little Easter eggs strewn about that allow you to create a honking sound, usually by clicking on something. In the first game, this would happen when clicking on the poster. In the fourth game, this would happen when you clicked on the plushie on the bed. In FNAF World, the nose honk sound also exists, and you can find it when clicking Freddy's nose on the title screen. So if you're wondering where that honk noise went and you were hoping it was somewhere in here, you can enjoy finding it right at the beginning of the game. Honk honk! It also kinda sounds like one of those noisemakers that rolls out. What are those called? A party favor? A party blower? A party horn? You know what I mean, the things. They roll out. Number 6. Finding the clock ending. This is an ending that you need to be patient in order to find. It will come up during a conversation with good old glitchy Fredbear. You gotta wait for him to get glitchy by the way, but you can't exit out of that conversation. Don't exit out. Waiting a few moments will mean that you end up getting additional instructions, being told additionally to find the clock. The clocks are scattered throughout the game, with a few being located in the Mysterious Mine, one in Pinwheel Funhouse, another in Fazbear Hills, and one in Dusting Fields. There is a specific order in which you'll collect these clocks, starting with Fazbear Hills. Before you collect each one, you will receive additional instructions to help you know where to look, and each one can be activated by completing a puzzle or solving a game. You will then have to battle Pork Patch to receive the key, which gets you access to a warp circle, which takes you to this secret ending. So many steps. It's also believed that you need to play the game on hard mode to unlock this ending. Number 5. FNAF 4 Ending. The clock ending will reveal the same character from when you first started the game. This character will reassure you that we are still your friends, but asks if you still believe that. This is similar to the ending that we see from FNAF 4, but instead of telling the player that they will put them back together again, they are instead told by the character, who is obviously meant to resemble everyone's favorite psychic friend Fredbear, but shrouded in darkness, that the pieces are in place for you, but you yourself will need to find them. This ending also gives you the Crying Child trophy, which is obviously another tie to FNAF 4. Number 4. Halloween Land. Halloween Land is an update that was added to FNAF World. However, it is an area that you can only access after beating the game. It doesn't just appear as bonus content, unlike other game updates and bonus content. One of the ways you can find and access this area is to visit Desk Man after beating the game. Once you talk to him and leave his home, Fredbear will appear outside and open up a portal for you. Oh thank you, how convenient. Moving through that portal takes you to Halloween Land or the Halloween Backstage Update area, whichever you prefer to call it. Number 3. Secret Graveyard Path. In the graveyard there is a path that takes you all the way to the beginning of the game. This shortcut can be very useful, especially if you are trying to achieve certain objectives in order to unlock trophies, endings, or other such achievements in-game. Once you've unlocked Halloween Land, this path will also become available to you, if you can find it. In order to do so, you'll need to position yourself between 2 rocks near the windmill in Fazbear Hills. From there, move left until you hit a tree. If you continue to move left without stopping, you will eventually move through that tree, sort of phasing through it, and enter Halloween Land. Ooh, spooky. Number 2, Old Man Consequences. This is an ending you have to get to in a very specific way. Okay, let's go. You have to get here by visiting glitches and moving in a very specific path to the 4th one. Once you access that glitch, it will take you to a subtunnel with nothing but some trees, a lake, and a man who is fishing on that lake. This man appears to be glitch-like himself and is red with jagged teeth and seems to be kind of shaped like a crocodile? This is Old Man Consequences. He will tell you that you have bottomed out in the code, and so this is basically the end of the line for you, and you must just accept it. This is one of the alternate endings you can get. However, if you've gotten every other ending in the game and been here multiple times before, it's actually possible to beat and kill Old Man Consequences, who doesn't really put up a fight. I guess he's just at peace with his lot. He's like, we're at the bottom of the code, you're killing me, whatever. Number 1, Final Boss. Although there are a myriad of endings in FNAF World, the secret and final boss for this game, the final boss, can only be unlocked and beaten once you have defeated all 4 Guardians and have played through the game on hard mode. Doing so will mean you can finally head to the red tent and enter it, which will allow you to approach the final boss fight. Who is the final boss in FNAF World? Why, it's none other than Scott Cawthon, of course. Well, Scott Cawthon does seem to have similarities or connections to Deskman in the game, which we talked about earlier. This is his real in-game version. Once you instigate the fight and face off with Scott in-game, he will tell you, it was fun being the puppet master, but now I grow weary. It is time to put you in your place. This fight is a tough one, by the way, but if you manage to succeed, Scott will use his dying breath to ask you, was this really the ending you wanted? Coming all the way here just to kill me? Was I really the villain in your mind? He'll tell you that he hopes you feel good about yourself killing him, and ending the story by killing the storyteller. Bursting into pixels, the words, the end, will then come up on screen.
In a tent daycare hole. One of the most interesting aspects of a free roam game is all the secret areas and Easter eggs you can hide, like the Portal 2 Easter egg hidden in Skyrim of all games. However, in FNAF, it's much more than that, since each tiny Easter egg or detail can help us figure out what the hell has been going on in this series for the past 8 years, which makes the appearance of secret little cubby holes around the Pizzaplex very interesting. Like the one for the Moondrop and Sunnydrop animatronic hidden behind the daycare center behind a Foxy poster unlocked by taking pictures of certain cardboard cutouts that are also actually on the poster, which makes me think, are there more areas that need to be unlocked like that, or something like that? I'm sure many have tried various things, but I don't know, it feels like there should be one for like the laser gun equivalent. In this little hole, however, you can find a mini game called Balloon Boy World, which we will talk about more later on. But also it contains a duffel bag with lore and the Golden Moon animatronic plush required from one of the achievements, so it's certainly somewhere that you'd want to go. You can also get the achievement for playing the Balloon Boy World minigame also. And at 9, Vanessa Therapy. Something I was unaware of until completing the game and getting Roxy's eyes were 16 retro CDs that can be found towards the end of the game. You have to actually have Roxy's eyes to see them though, because they don't spawn in unless you have the eyes. These can be played with a CD player hidden in a sister location secret room. The retro CDs require Roxanne's eye upgrade on Glamrock Freddy, and for the CDs to spawn in, Gregory has to be inside an upgraded Glamrock Freddy, be near the disc and like looking at where it would be, and then exiting to actually be able to collect it, otherwise it won't spawn in if you're looking away. The order in which the CDs are found does not seem to affect which recordings are unlocked, just the amount of CDs found, which is clearly a reference to the 16 tapes found in FNAF VR that weren't really found in a particular order. Collecting them just seemed to unlock them in sequence. However, these tapes seem to also contain therapy sessions between Vanessa and a therapist, as well as a therapist and another individual who goes unnamed, but could also be Gregory. We don't know because they never talk. And at 8, Fire Dave. One of the various lore duffel bags we can stumble upon in this game is a customer complaint titled Hi Dave, which upon inspection reads, quote, "Customer complaint. You should fire Dave, he sucks." And while it's short and sweet and to the point, it also is seemingly a reference to the FNAF novels, since if you're unaware, in the novels William Afton was introduced, but at first he was going by the alias Dave Miller. And considering how this customer says that we should fire Dave, I think that's a pretty telling way to reference the book's most infamous employee, and also reference the fact that Afton is in the Pizzaplex right below our noses. This duffel bag can be found on the farthest left bench next to the lockers in customer service, which seems to indicate that Dave also worked in customer service. Just a horrible place for a serial killer to work, just saying. And it's 7, Joy of Creation. The anticipation for the Fazbear Fanverse initiative is building now that Security Breach has released and we don't know anything about what's coming next in the main FNAF universe. However, there are actually references to some of the Fanverse games in Security Breach. For example, the Joy of Creation Easter eggs of Ignited Freddy and Ignited Bonnie found on the House of Bear and House of Bear 2 arcade cabinets found around the Pizzaplex. This is something I actually picked up on my first time through, so needless to say, it's pretty damn cool that I was right about it. The House of Bear cabinet has Ignited Freddy's silhouette standing in the doorway, and House of Bear 2's machine features Ignited Bonnie's face, which could be considered Withered Bonnie, but given the context of Ignited Freddy on the other one, I think it's safe to say that this is Ignited Bonnie. Plus, this can also explain how these games fit into the main timeline, since the Fanverse games could just be the games that Scott's in-universe counterpart made. It would also explain why they have their own FNAF 1 version titled FNAF Plus. And at 6, Freddie Mercury. Did you know that Freddy Fazbear in the opening cutscene to FNAF Security Breach is actually making a reference to Freddie Mercury? Yeah, neither did I. But thanks to some helpful YouTube commenters, not on these videos, on other videos, it was pointed out to me there. While on stage when showcasing his name, Freddy Fazbear strikes a similar pose to Freddie Mercury, which is kind of iconic and understandable given that both their names are Freddy. And I don't really want to see Freddy getting up on his toes, grabbing his crotch and yelling, "Ow!" in reference to Michael Jackson. Someone also ended up making an album cover for the glam rock band singing Bohemian Rhapsody, which is absolutely iconic and I love it. I kind of want to hear this now though. Like, why can't we have this instead of like Freddy telling Gregory that he needs to vent like a sussy baka? Like, why has that been going around? Like, Gregory, have you heard of Among Us, Gregory? You need to vent. I don't know. And why is my TikTok For You page filled with FNAF memes and FNAF related content all of a sudden, okay? It was like the one safe place I had. But now there's like glam rock Freddy filters and like Sunny Drop filters and Gregory being a sussy baka and like but Vanessa, I'm a material girl things. Like, what the f, man? Why? Halfway through into number 5, Gregory's missing. This is something I picked up on in the second ending I got in my playthrough, in what is commonly referred to as the worst ending, where you simply leave the Pizzaplex by yourself without Freddy. The first ending I got is actually the Vanny ending, which to me is my canon ending. It's a different way to explain that. But in this ending, Gregory ends up running away and hiding in a cardboard box. This box is assumed by most to be his home since he doesn't really have one and can't really return to the Pizzaplex. However, this is where this detail comes in. The newspaper he's using as a blanket has multiple silhouettes of the children who have gone missing this time around. 9 of them, this time to be exact. However, the one in the bottom left corner looks an awful lot like Gregory when he's standing in front of all those security monitors in the first security.